Hi everyone, and thanks for joining me. Today we're going to be stitching up Halloween totes. So these are applique designs. I got these from Embroidery Panda and I think they are so cute. This is just a very simple black tote bag. I'll link it in the description below. And this is a applique design. They also have a fill stitch design in this pattern if you like this. And then I just put this fun little bat charm on there. That is from Creative Fabrica. I'll link it in the description below. Super cute, super easy. Here is a second one that I made. This one, again, the design is from Embroidery Panda. Super cute. This one I used some glitter vinyl for the cat. The charm on this one, again, is from Creative Fabrica. I am a member there, so I get unlimited downloads. And let me see if I can flip him around for you. There we go. So it's just a cute little cat, and I use the matching vinyl on that one. So super cute. This one's for Evie, and this one is for Ace. He requested a bat and a ghost. So this was the one that we're going to do in the video. On this one, you can see I used glitter HTV for inside the sunglasses, and this really cool holographic faux leather for the ghost. So without further ado, let's get started. Again, I'll link everything I'm using in the description below the video. You can make these on a single needle or a multi-needle. I'm going to be using the Ricoma just for the sake of the video. It's much faster to not have to stop and switch the threads. But I'm going to walk you through step by step how to create this particular bag. So let's get started. So first I'm going to show you how to hoop it on for a single needle, and then we'll do a multi-needle right after. So the first thing I'm going to do for my single needle is hoop a piece of tearaway stabilizer, and then I'm just going to mark the horizontal and vertical centers. Once I have that done, I'm going to mark the horizontal and vertical center on my tote bag. Now you can just fold it in half horizontally and vertically to find your center, and then mark that with a piece of chalk or a fabric marker, whatever your choice is. I prefer to just fold it, make some crease lines, and then tape my design down. You don't have to print out your design. You can just use those crosshair marks that you made right there. I just do this because I like to use the printed design. It just helps me gauge how big it is, where I want it. Sometimes things aren't exactly a square design, so you might want it a little to the left or right. So I just prefer to do it this way. But if you're just doing it without the printout and you're just making the crosshairs, go ahead and give it an iron so that you can see those really well. Now, if you're doing the printout, you might want to pin it down as well as tape it, because now we're going to turn the tote bag wrong side out. You need to do this really gently because you don't want that design that we just placed to move. That's why it helps to iron the bag, iron the crease lines in it that mark your centers. And then once we have the bag turned wrong side out, our image is facing up on the inside of the bag like this. We're going to use a little bit of temporary adhesive. I like this 505 spray, and we're just going to spray that tearaway just to make that temporarily sticky. Just a little bit, it's just a little bit tacky. And then I'm going to take a straight pen. I'm going to put it right through the center of my design. Now, if you didn't do the printout, you're going to put it right through the center of your crosshairs of your folded demarcations that you made on the bag. And we're just going to line that up with the center crosshairs on the hoop. And I'm just sticking the bag down right there in the center. The rest of it's still very loose. I can still move it around. And then I'm going to use the rest of my vertical line going up, again, using that crease line or using the marks on your printout, whichever you want to use. We're just going to make sure that that's straight all the way up. Excuse my hair coming into frame. Trying to get it right over the top of this so that I can make sure that this is nice and straight. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom. Again, use your crease line or the vertical marks on your printout and just line that up. And then we're just going to repeat that process for the horizontal centers. So you're just kind of maneuvering it back and forth. Now I'm pushing that down in the middle to make sure that's secure. And I can see I need to raise this up just a little bit. And then that side's straight. And now you know that that's perfectly straight on the bag. What you see is what you're going to get when you get over to the machine. So let's go over the machine and I'll show you what it looks like on a single needle. And here's what it'll look like over on the single needle. You're going to be working through the opening of the bag, and you're going to have to babysit it a little bit, maneuver the bag around as it's stitching to make sure that those sides stay out of the way. So let me go back over to the other machine and we'll hoop it for the multi-needle. All right, so let's go over the supplies. I'm using a piece of cutaway. I find cutaway works really well. This particular bag is pretty thin. And then I'm going to be using this HTV. This is just a scrap of glitter HTV, which is heat transfer vinyl. We're going to use that inside the sunglasses. And for the ghost, I'm going to use this really cool holographic faux leather. And I'm going to be using my newest Mighty Hoop. This is my 8x9 Mighty Hoop. I love this size and it is perfect for this bag. So the first thing we're going to do is spray a little 505 adhesive. You can use any kind of temporary adhesive on the back of our stabilizer, and I'm just going to scoot that inside the bag. You can see I've already printed out and taped down my design. If you choose not to print it out, that's absolutely fine, and you just want to mark your center with a ruler or a fabric pen, go right ahead and do that. I just really like printing it out, and using the printout helps me make sure that my proportions are right, that everything is in the direction I want it, and I don't know, I just really like printing. I really suggest that if you're new to embroidery. So once you've got that stabilizer inside the bag, you want to make sure, see I've got a couple wrinkles here. That's the good thing about this temporary adhesive. You can just lift it up and smooth it back out. You want to make sure that you're not going to be embroidering any wrinkles inside the bag. So I'm just straightening it out, making sure it's completely smooth underneath of there. Now we're going to take the bottom of our Mighty Hoop and we're going to slip that right inside the bag. You just want to take a moment, make sure that it goes underneath that stabilizer and that you have it as straight as possible. I have it so that that tab on the bottom hoop is facing out, that little tab right there. That needs to face out, especially on this particular hoop on my machine. It won't go in the other direction. So I'm just checking, making sure that it's centered all the way around, that my needle's going to have room all the way around the Mighty frame so that it won't hit. And making sure that the frame is as straight as possible. And then we're going to go ahead and put the top hoop on once we've got that into place. And I find it helps just to do a swift, straight down, and that gives you a really taut, drum tight hooping. So over at the machine, I've already put the flash drive in and I just need to upload the design. I've got my little cheat sheet here. This comes with your file and I've marked the colors that I want to use. So we're going to make sure the machine's unlocked. We're going to click File and you're going to navigate to the file. Now normally it's the last one, but in this particular case it was not. So sometimes if you don't see it right away, look up a few because once in a while it is not the last one. So we're going to click, once we find the design, we're going to click on the machine. And that's going to send the design to the machine. Now we're going to go to the machine and it will be the last one. And there it is. So we're going to click OK. So if you're on a multi-needle, now you need to program your color. So we'll run through them really quickly. Step 1 is his hand. It's the left one as you're looking at it. Step 2 is the placement for the ghost. Step 3 is the tack down for the ghost. Step 4 is the satin for the ghost. Step 5 is the other hand. I'm doing those all in white. Step 6 is the mouth of the ghost. I'm doing that in black. Step 7 is the placement for the sunglasses. Step 8 is the tack down for the sunglasses. And step 9 is the satin stitch for the sunglasses. I'm doing all of those in purple. Step 10 is the word ghouls. We're doing that in purple. Step 11 is the arrow and the word love, and we're doing those in orange. And then the last step, step 12, or actually it's the second to last step. Step 12 is all the me, the spider, and the bat. We're doing those in white since this is on a black bag. And then the very last step, step 13, is the whites in the eyes of the spider. All right, so now we're ready to get this all lined up. As always, we're going to put it on needle number 1, and then we're going to center needle number 1 with the center of our design. This is another reason I like to have this printout. It just makes everything so much easier than having to mark the fabric, make sure that it's still straight inside the frame. I can tell that everything is straight. So I'm just moving the frame over. We're over the crosshairs and we're going to do a quick trace just to make sure that we are in fact not going to hit the sides of the frame. Always, always, always trace. Once you're sure that it is within the area that you want it to be, I am going to just remove the piece of paper. That's why I like to just tape it on. Just makes it very easy. Let me get this thread out of the way so that we don't accidentally stitch over it. So we're going to remove the design and we're going to hit start and we're going to stitch that very first step, which is the ghost arm. Again, this is the arm that as you're looking at the project, it's going to be the one on the left side. I have set my machine on automatic manual, which means it's going to stop after every color. If you're doing a single needle, you're just going to run step 1. Actually, step 1 through 5, I did all in white on my particular version. If you're doing it on a white bag, you might want to change your colors. But since I'm doing it on a black bag, I did step 1 through 5 all with white thread. So if you're doing a single needle, very simply just run all of the first 5 steps with the same color thread. Once we complete step number 1, we're going to start the machine again, and it's going to give us the placement stitch for the ghost. So this placement stitch goes pretty quickly, and then we're going to add our holographic vinyl or whatever you want to use. You can use just regular fabric. If you use regular fabric, I would put heat and bond on the back of it, but you don't have to. That's up to you. And I didn't even put spray adhesive on the back of this vinyl. I just put it down and just watched it. I wanted to make sure, but if you need to tape it or if you want to use the spray adhesive, you do what works for you and what works with your machine and your comfort level. The more I use my machine, the more I get a little more comfortable taking some shortcuts, but again, do what works for you. So now what you want to do is trim as close to those stitch lines as you can. I like to take it off of the machine and trim around the stitch lines. I just don't find it necessary to try to maneuver around the hoop and the machine. So I'm going to take this off the machine and I'll be right back. All right, I've got him all trimmed and I'm going to put him back on the machine. You can see I've kind of taped those handles down just because we're taking this on and off of the machine, and that just makes it a little extra insurance that I don't accidentally sew those handles down or get inside the bag. But before you start the machine, each time you take it off, make sure that you double check that the bag is in place. So now it's stitching step number 4. This is the satin finishing stitch. I'm going to speed this up because this takes a little bit of time. So we'll get that done and be right back. I hope you're finding these step-by-step videos helpful. I know when I first started doing some of the appliques, it just seems so confusing to me, and it's really not. But it helps to be able to see the step-by-step process. Once you do a couple of them, you'll get the hang of it. They really aren't difficult at all. It's just a matter of knowing what step does what and what's coming next. All right, we are on to step number 5, which is the other hand. Again, I just keep referring to my cheat sheet that lets me know what's coming next. You can also look at the screen if that helps. Leave me a comment below and let me know if you appreciate this type of a video, or would you rather just see the whole thing stitch out without step-by-step instructions. I'm happy to do it either way. Just trying to gear these towards the beginners, but just because I know what it felt like to be a beginner. It's kind of overwhelming. There is a lot to learn. I know when I first started embroidery, I thought, oh wow, you just get a machine and you just hit go, and what fun is that? And there really is so much to learn, and there's so much more to embroidery than just pushing the start button. So I know it can be a little bit overwhelming once you get that machine and you get started. And I just want you to play, have fun, don't take it so seriously. This is supposed to be fun, and I promise you, you're going to make mistakes. I still make mistakes. As a matter of fact, when I sewed Evie's bag, just before I got to the very last step, I didn't get that handle out of my way and I stitched it down. So it happens to the best of us. I just unstitched it and fixed it and redid it. So things are going to happen. It's okay, but enjoy it. Have fun. Most of the time they're going to go right. And we're already up to stitch number 6. So stitch number 6, or step number 6, is the black for the mouth of the ghost. That's going to go right on top of that vinyl. It's a really quick stitch. We're going to follow that by the tack down step for the sunglasses. I'm sorry, not the tack down, but the placement step for the sunglasses. So step number 7 is just the outline of the sunglasses, and that's going to tell us where to put our HTV or whatever black or whatever your fabric you want to use inside the sunglasses. In my particular case, I'm going to use this HTV. If you're not familiar with HTV, it's heat transfer vinyl, and normally this plastic piece, it's called the transfer tape. That's what you use to iron it on. But for embroidery, you just pull it off of that transfer tape. And again, I'm just going to lay it on. You can use some tape, or you could use the adhesive vinyl, or you could go ahead and apply some heat and iron it down. Once it gets stitching, it stays into place. I probably should have taped that down a little bit, but why not? I live on the edge. So this is called the tack down stitch, and this is stitch number 8. Next is going to be the satin stitch. But before we do that satin stitch, we've got to trim it up. So I'm going to remove it from the machine, and then I'm just going to cut around it. Again, you want to cut as close to those stitch lines as you can get without cutting through them. I find it helps to put it on a flat, hard surface as you're working your scissors and cutting this out. So we're all ready for step number 9, which is the satin stitch around the sunglasses. So we did the tack down just now, and now we're doing the satin. Step number 9. Look at us go. We are on step number 10, which is the word ghouls. That's going to stitch out in purple. And then I'm going to speed this up and do the last 3 steps, which is the step 11 is the arrow and the word loves. Step number 12 is the bat and the words all, the, and me, and the spider. And then the final step is the whites of the eyes of the spider. So I'm going to put the time lapse on and let this go. So that's it. Here's our finished design. Isn't this adorable? I absolutely love the Embroidery Panda files. They stitch out so nicely. I love this holographic vinyl. I think it turned out really, really cool on this ghost. And the HTV, the glitter HTV inside the sunglasses, I thought was a lot of fun. Now I did add the charms after the fact. I will probably do those in a future video. They're very, very simple. And again, I got those from Creative Fabrica. Here's another look at the one I made for Evie. Very similar steps. You walk through the process the exact same way. All of the printables and all of that is included in the file. So you can do it just the way I did. You just walk through each step. I find it helps to write on the printout what colors is each step. And it just kind of helps you walk along and see what's happening. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to click that bell so that you're notified every time there's a new video. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, never stop making. See ya. Bye-bye.